All right, we are back live with another release notes stream here on the PagerDuty Twitch and LinkedIn channels. We're going out in lots of places. If you've had this shared from other places, from your best friends, we might also be on YouTube. So we have a new guest with us. Tiago is a new developer relations person on our team, and he's going to be hanging out with us today, as well as Jake and Forrest. And we're going to be talking about process automation version 4.15.
Hey, Tiago.
Hello. Hello, Forrest. Hello,
How are
Jake.
you?
All good.
Look,
Glad
we
to be
have
here.
Joey in our comments already.
Right?
And I wore a very special hat this round because last week I was visiting our Santiago office, and I was able to get this hat at a winery that we went and did. Chileans are known for their wine, so
yeah.
I got this
That's
at the
pretty cool.
winery down there. That was kind of fun. So Tiago, being in Lisbon, I'm going to need a trip and somewhere to get a hat.
Okay. We have
So that
plenty of places.
we can feature the hat on Hat Day. I mean, Release Notes Day.
That's right.
Yeah, definitely. And our wine is also pretty good. So.
Oh, all right. Well, competition is on then. Let's dive in and start taking a look at some release notes here, because that is what people really come for. Released last week, 4.15, Banshee Fuchsia sunglasses. Sounds like something from the 80s.
It's very neon, yeah.
And I always get to kind of lead with some of this, but Jake, really, took the ball and ran with most of these features. So he's going to come in with a demo on some of this stuff. We have two major highlights. Our AWS authentication. When it comes to authenticating, multiple accounts can be rather complicated, and when you're connecting SaaS to SaaS, we found a way to simplify that. So purely in our Runbook Automation solution, this unfortunately does not apply to on-prem, because on-prem you could, I'll let Jake talk about the technical on that, but you could do it on your own. But you can now, authenticate in a much more streamlined manner. And I'm assuming that's what you have your demo on for today, Jake.
Yeah. One of the things we'll demo for sure.
And then the second one is a key storage configuration enhancement. So now we can actually configure key storage configurations in the GUI. This is something I've been, requesting internally for quite a while, because these can be rather complicated to set up. There's a lot of settings for, especially ones like CyberArk, have a lot of different settings that need to be in place and be just right, as well as if you have more than one, there's kind of this complicated, numbering scheme you have to keep in order for them to work well. So now we can actually configure those, directly in the UI, and add multiple, etc. Very, very similar to how node sources are configured today. We started a new section also that will be updated. There, ironically, weren't any updates in 4.15 to the runner, but we'll now be highlighting runner updates. If we've made some changes, and identifying the bundled version, right? So if you notice that the version moved up, you can come now to release notes and check those out. And then we have our collection of the open source updates. As usual, there's quite a few security and dependency package updates. We did fix a particular bug when uploading XML job exports. There was kind of a series here between 4.5 and 4.12 where not all jobs, but certain types of jobs with certain job options wouldn't necessarily import cleanly, so that's been fixed up. And another security, fix up related to HSTS headers. So those are the things I'd probably call out. I do want to give a shout out to we had a high number this round, all our community contributors. I think most of this was to documentation, but also a shout out to Simon. I've worked with Simon on a couple things here, and Simon's also been helpful in answering a couple of questions for the community out there. So we appreciate all the help we get out of the community.
Awesome. Thanks, Simon. Are there anything in the updates that folks should be sure to upgrade for if they're watching any of these CVEs that have come up? It doesn't look like anything's like a crazy burning emergency to me. But
yeah, so I mean we've been running, adding multiple systems to try and capture dependencies, because we know that when they do come up for a customer, it's a blocker for them, right? It's usually we're engaging with I'll just call it the Rundeck team, within the customer, but their security team, right? Their security team that we're not directly engaging with is putting up walls, right? It's the it's the business side of the firewall and saying, nope, you can't put that in because that dependency needs to be updated. It kind of ranges, and everyone has their own process. So we've been adding quite a few different types of scans to try and get ahead of them. And ironically, they always seem to pop up right about the time we're ready to cut our test release or get ready to go out.
Yes.
So then we have to make sure that we get those done, right? Every once in a while the dates will slip, and it's really us just trying to make sure that that we're putting out the best release we can. So my hunch is a lot of these are very recent finds. I haven't unpacked all of them, but looking at like this particular CVE number, right? It has 2023 in it, and it's a reasonable size number. So it definitely came, this year. Those, gone through the process with Rundeck ourselves in the past. It's funny how you reserve this number, but then it might not actually hit the public and get spread out to all the different tools until a little bit later on.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll be like, why is that a 2022 one? Well, just, it just became public, or they just came out with a fix. So I can't really answer directly, like you must update for this one. But it always is good to stay current on the products.
Definitely.
So and enough, looking at words. I think everyone shows up for the Jake version of this.
Here we go.
We'll just dive right in. So as Forrest mentioned, the integration with AWS is a super popular one, and what we wanted to do is make it easier and more secure to integrate our Runbook Automation SaaS product with AWS. And so what I'll do is show a little bit of how that's done and how easy it is. So when we're in a given project, what we're able to do is select the integrations that we want to configure. And the nomenclature that we use for integrations are plugins. And so when I'm in a project config, I can go to plugins and I can add a plugin configuration here, and you can see all of the different types of plugin groups that we have. And when I click on AWS now, if I'm in a Runbook Automation instance, you'll now see this section for IAM role delegation. And what this means is that I can copy these values into creating an IAM role in AWS. And the process on the AWS side is also pretty straightforward, where I can create a role and say that this is coming from another AWS account, and copy the values into here, including that external ID that we provide. For users who have set up other SaaS vendors like Datadog or Sumo Logic or even GitLab, for instance, this should be fairly familiar, where another SaaS vendor that's hosted in AWS can make SDK calls to AWS on your behalf in a very secure manner. What's really neat about the way that we've implemented this is that the external ID, which is the unique identifier for this account-to-account integration or SaaS vendor to your AWS environment integration, is actually unique per project. And what that means is that our customers can have different AWS accounts integrated with their Runbook Automation instance on a per project basis. And this is really powerful in that it means I can have our sandbox AWS environment integrated with my sandbox Runbook Automation project, and our our R&D department, or our AI app team having their own AWS account. They can each have their own isolated workspace in Runbook Automation in their own project, integrated with an AWS account that is specific to them. And so we make this very easy to have a secure, isolated workspace. And for those that are familiar with Rundeck, the building block of Runbook Automation, we have such granular role-based access controls around the project construct that you can really get fine-grained with saying these users can build jobs in this project and only view jobs or run jobs in this other project, or can only touch inventory of this kind in this project. And so just building off of that, being able to say that each project can have its own native AWS integration just extends that even further. So that's really the power of this, being able to easily and securely set up this integration. Whereas before, for our Runbook Automation customers, they had to resort to using the access key and secret key, which it is less desirable from the AWS best practices standpoint. Is also, for that reason, it was also more cumbersome to set up. There isn't as much native alignment between using access key and secret with the IAM role permission sets, because an access key and secret was it's aligned to a specific user in the AWS IAM ecosystem. As Forrest alluded to earlier, when you are self-hosting process automation and you want to integrate with AWS, you have this option to self-host in AWS, and you can assign an IAM role to the EC2 VMs or ECS containers that automation is hosted on. So in that scenario, this is when you would use a credential provider that you would just say, like, I'm hosting on EC2, I've assigned an IAM role to my EC2, and therefore the process automation just should inherit those permission sets from that IAM role. And same for ECS. And we chose to make this declarative and visible rather than to make it black boxy for various reasons. But if you're using our SaaS product, this is hands down the way to go. The last thing I'll say on this point is that we have a lot of integration points with AWS. We have node sources that discover your inventory, like EC2s and ECS containers. We have job step plugins. We have notification plugins, and so on and so forth. All of those plugins now will inherit the permissions allocated to these IAM roles. And so you don't need to declare the permission set on a per integration point basis. So if I were to set this, I can actually, I believe, demonstrate this. Because I believe I've set this in my other project. Yeah, so I've set the AWS plugin for my automated diagnostics project. And if I go to my node source here, you can see I've configured my AWS EC2 resources node source. And I've just said I want to pull from the US West 1 region. And I haven't defined any other credential mapping here. It's just inheriting the credentials that are retrieved by that IAM role that I set in the project level config. And so now it's super straightforward to just say I want to use this Lambda plugin in my job step, or I want to use this ECS Fargate task command plugin in my job. I can just select those and inherit the IAM permission sets that have been allocated to the IAM role that I've set now at the project level. Right now, this is on a per project basis. In our upcoming release, you'll be able to set it for the entire system if you do want to designate an IAM role for the entire Runbook Automation instance. So that was a long-winded explanation of the enhancement. Happy to take questions from the chat or from anyone else on the Twitch stream.
Yeah, if anyone has questions, if you're watching us on Twitch, you can put them in the comment box. I think I can see them on the LinkedIn as well. I know there's a bunch of folks over there. So if you have any questions, you want to put them in there, that'd be great.
If we have time, I can show just a quick visual of the key storage setup as well.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So for this, switching over to another instance, and I'll start from kind of your main page of listing your projects. And when we go to key storage, this is what you have today, which is to navigate keys that you've put into our native key store or that are retrieved from one of the integrations that we have. As Forrest alluded to, setting up those key storage integrations all were file-based previously, or you had to configure them in the system configuration. And that required knowing a lot of the which properties to set and using this numbering system. So what we've done today is very similar to what I showed with the plugin groups, where you can list the key storage plugins that we support. And so if I click one of these, what it provides me are the config items specific to that key storage plugin. And so I don't need to remember what these are in order to set this up. And if I want to set up multiple key storage integrations, I can do that and not need to worry about this numbering system. And so we've taken a lot of what we learned on the node source configuration construct and carried it over here as well to provide some of that consistency of the user experience. And so if I say I want to add my Thycotic, I can go ahead and do that as well. And now you can see I have 2 key storage plugins here, and I can sort the order similar to what we've done with our node source integrations as well. And this is very powerful as well, right? You might have one department that's using HashiCorp Vault and another department that's using or testing out CyberArk. And we intend to support more and more key storage integrations down the road. And so, again, being able to provide this standardization and unity across multiple teams, multiple departments, or business units who have different tooling is a major value proposition that we want to be able to promote.
Yeah, Jake, is this something that you define on the project level as well, or can it be defined both on project level and account?
I believe it's at the project level as well. To be quite frank, I haven't tested at the project level, but I suppose we can test that. We can test it live.
Okay.
Most customers that I speak to tend to set it at the system level.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, so I believe
you have to set them up like as a system. I believe at the system level, the project key storage is a specific subset within the key storage path system that is like preset with some ACLs, etc. So you wouldn't necessarily configure a key storage at a project level, but you could have your key storage store, this project, that project, etc. within that hierarchy.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. Thank you.
Cool. I think that's going to be super helpful for a lot of folks to keep all their stuff in the same place. They're going to access it from their apps and everything else. So that's awesome. Cool. Well, I don't see any questions yet. So do we have anything else do we have anything that we want to tease that might be coming up in a future release?
Jake loosely teased it. We will have some more key storage plugins coming in Q3, as well as we're going to continue to make enhancements around, making sure that runner can help facilitate everything, right? The runner helps facilitate for our Runbook cloud customers everything on-prem, continuing to add more functionality to that so that you really can just do everything you need to do within your automation.
Sweet.
Yeah. I really love the work that you guys keep doing on improving the user experience for the users, making it easier to use. So that's yeah, really good job there.
Awesome.
Great. Well, thank you.
All right, so Joey's in here asking the hard questions. He'd like to know if you could tease some visions for the key storage enhancements in the coming releases. And he also says this is
we've had
great.
lots of conversations with lots of customers on some of the other key storage integrations, right? So it'll be in addition to Vault and Thycotic, whatever's popular. So it's honestly right now kind of a high score game. Whoever requests theirs the most will win. So for any customers that are out there, you can reach out to your friendly neighborhood PagerDuty contact, or to us through various means, and let us know you're looking for a particular integration.
And I can in slightly more direct teasing terms say that if you're using Runbook Automation, our SaaS product, and you've got on-premise inventory like VMware or your Docker containers, or you're using our SaaS product and you've got your self-hosted HashiCorp Vault instance and you want to leverage those for operations, we're going to make it so that is doable in a secure way. So I think that's the best I can do for teasing further support of key storage integrations with the cloud product and the node source integrations with the cloud product. Definitely stay tuned for our upcoming releases, some major enhancements in that realm.
Awesome. That sounds great. And if you want to tell all your friends that they should be using PagerDuty Process Automation and they're not hot on running their own stuff, they can now sign up for trials. I will put the link in the chat. So if folks out there are trying to help their friends get their automation on board, you don't have to run your own stuff anymore. You can sign up for that trial. Check it out. So awesome. Do we have anything else for folks this week?
No, I think that's it.
Awesome. Sounds great. So this has been super fun. Everyone should go out, try those key storage plugins. Let us know what else you need there. In the meantime, we'll be back eventually, right, for more release notes. The channel will be back tomorrow for Terraform time at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific with Jose Antonio. So in the meantime, we'll wish everyone out there an uneventful day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you never miss a stream. Follow us at PD Community and PagerDuty on twitch.tv. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you'd like to be on our stream, email us at community-team@pagerduty.com so we can feature the cool things you're doing. And don't forget, check out all of our global events on our calendar at pagerduty.com/events.